Hi everyone! So today Spellbinders has launched their new and improved, it says, Spellbinders Platinum die cutting and embossing machine. They also did the same thing for the Platinum 6. Essentially, very much the same design as they had before, but with the extended cutting plates. So they did send us item free of charge for my review, and of course all opinions are my own. And any links I'll have in the description box will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission if you were to purchase items to those links. So in the set here, it has universal plate system, which is the elongated plates that have different sandwich abilities. So you can put literally anything through this. And what I mean by that are like thin metal dies, embossing folders, 3D embossing folders, like the really, really big embossing folders, steel roll dies, of course, and that's really why I like these machines, like the Platinum 6. And I've never had a huge machine like this that cuts the steel roll dice, so I'm really excited about that because I have a few that I didn't realize were so big when I ordered them, and so now I have a machine to cut them, because before they were just sitting there because I didn't have a machine for it. Exclusive 3D embossing folder in here, and exclusive cutting die set, it says. So today I'm at my table, my dining room table, because it's a big boy, so you might see some bananas in the background there and things. But anyway, what I'm gonna do is get this open. So I'll show you kind of what that looks like, how it arrives. And on the top, oh my goodness, this is a nice big boy. I don't know why I just thought this was some kind of packaging, and then I realized, oh, that's the plate, because again, I haven't had a machine this large before. So in here we have the plate system. So again, it comes with some dies, and it says happy birthday, and then a little Spellbinders flower with like little leaves in the center. Really cute. Registration info and things like that. Some info here that I'm assuming, yeah, it talks a little bit about what's included, how to use it, and then we're going to attach the handle right here. First thing, steps 1 and 2 and 3 and things. And then just, it does have images of the sandwiches. Of course, these are sandwiches that work with most dies and things, right? So like, you know, if you have a metal, thin metal cutting die, you have the cutting plate, the die facing down towards the paper, your C cutting plate, C and C, those are both cutting plates, they're the same. Platform top, which is B, and platform base A. So in the old machines, A was basically the thickness of a lot of this, the A and B, but now you have this extra piece that you can take away, that little B platform top, and that really allows for like the 3D embossing and other things like that, so it's really great. And of course, you know, all of these different machines have sandwiches. If they have sandwiches, you gotta kind of understand how they work. How to build an embossing folder sandwich, super easy. It's cutting plate, embossing folder. This is the regular embossing folder, okay? So your standard type 2D or just a standard embossing folder. Your embossing folder with the paper in it, the platform B and platform A. And then if you're going to emboss and cut a shape, which I should have talked about earlier, because obviously if you cut a shape, maybe there's some embossing with it. You're going to use the adapter plate, which I love the adapter plate. It's just this gray plate that you also use for the 3D embossing folders. Use the embossing mat, and then your die with the paper facing up the cut side, so it pushes into the embossing mat. And then your platform B and A, which again together is like the old platform A. And if you have a 3D embossing folder, simple as just using the adapter plate, the 3D embossing folder with the paper, and your A plate platform. So I've been used to, I've gotten a little bit used to that because that's what I've been doing with the Platinum 6. Oh, it comes with this beautiful embossing folder. I don't know if it's the quilted design or rings or what they call this one, but it's E3D-034. Again, a larger embossing folder. It's like 8 3/4 by 5 3/4, but the area inside that embosses is about 8.5 by 5.5, so you can put lots of different projects in there. Size of paper. The shim, oh my goodness, you know, they didn't show a shim there because you may or may not need this, but this thing is amazing. Like whenever you shim things, you add like extra pieces of cardstock or whatever. These shims are really wonderful, and in fact, like for me, I picked up an extra set of them. I think I picked up 2 extra sets, and they usually sell in packs of 2. I don't know how they're selling the large one, but definitely pick up an extra set because you can shim up, you know, 2 or 3 of these if you need them, and they look great every time. They don't, I don't know what this stuff is made out of, but it works really well. So there's your shim, which is F. We have our rubber embossing mat, which is E. Oops, says right there. I don't have my trusty ruler, but I will let you guys know the size of this. Yeah, it doesn't say it on there either. Okay, so this is the adapter plate. Again, this is the one you use for like the 3D embossing folders, just with the platform A. Really nice. And then other reasons you might use that. The two cutting plates C. Right, and I love that their cutting plates are a little bit beveled, so when it starts going through the machine, it's not like and you hit something. They're beveled at the very edges, so it just goes in a little bit nicer. And then the platform. So like I said before, your platform A used to be like this thick, about, a little different, a little bit similar, but now we have platform B and A together that give you that thickness. So the ability to remove this is what helps you do your like 3D embossing and things like that. So platform A and platform B, these are not cutting platforms, these are just placement. You're just going to place things on here. Do not cut into those. And do not cut into adapter either. So just your cutting plates you would cut into, or your embossing mat, right? Okay, so here's our handle. And it has a little, it has a little cover to cover that up once we get this on here. And it even comes with the tool and the little nut there, or screw. Yeah, and it has a washer. So let's get this open. This stuff is really, really heavy duty. Let me see, I'm gonna put this right there. And there is our big boy. So again, this is just a really sizable machine. I'm gonna try to take the bag off so I can get this out by the handle maybe. I don't know if I can just use that. Okay, I'm gonna pull this guy out. Let me rearrange some things. I'll be right back. That's good. So what we're gonna do is just remove the bag. So, all the packaging and everything that this came in was pretty heavy, I mean, the machine is obviously super sturdy. It has a nice weight to it, but it's not as heavy as everything, because even that cardboard that was protecting this on top weighed like 3 pounds by itself. So, look at that. So again, you have your handle up here that helps you carry it around if you need to, or move it around very easily. And then I love that these flip closed, because honestly, I have other machines where it just stays open and it takes up so much space. So let's close that back up for now, because we don't need that quite yet. What I'm going to do is attach our little arm so we can actually crank some fun things out. And I'm sorry if my voice goes in and out here, because now I'm in front of the camera, but that little rubber seal to close it up. What I like about this is that it's not hard plastic. I've had other ones where it's hard plastic and then you can't get it out once you put it in there. So like, let's say this loosens up for whatever reason, you're able to get this back out because you can just kind of pick it out, right? Since it's soft. Yeah, whenever you pop in the little hard plastic one, it's like, that's it, it's done. And there's no adjusting after that. So, washer, little bolt there. I'm going to make sure that the washer goes, obviously, behind the thing, but let's just make sure here. So we have our handle. Place the machine front facing so that the metal post is to the right hand side of the machine. Note the metal post has one flat side. See how it's like flat? So when you look in your little handle, it also has that flatness. And then they're saying to put washer, screw, then turn that, and then add that little stopper piece. So again, we're just looking at this shape. Pretty easy right there. Hope you can see what I'm doing. And washer, screw, I'm gonna pop that in there. Oh yeah, it's just a circle there, so it just fits really easily. And then of course we're gonna take this guy and screw that in there. I put it with the long side in, short side out here. You can put it short side in, long side to turn whatever it is that you want, but I do want to get a good crank on that. So obviously it's already moving the handle, so that's pretty much in there, but I'm just giving it a good tightness. I'm just holding the handle so it doesn't move. Tightening that up really nice. And then we're just going to place the little stopper. And again, if for some reason it comes loose, which I, doubt, you can just pick this thing back out because it's rubbery, right? Okay, so let me put this away. Alright guys, I mean, they're great machines. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. What I'm going to do is just grab some dies or something, a steel rule die too to show you what that looks like, and we'll run it through. And I just wanted to walk you through the machine. I'll grab my ruler to measure these things for you, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm so sorry. I went out to find some of the bigger plates and I cannot find them because, like I said, I didn't have the machinery to cut them, so I know they're in my garage. Have no idea where they are right now, but let's just measure these plates right quickly. So like this adapter, it's like 8.5, just a little over 8.5 inches. Oh, by longer than 12 inches here, so I would say maybe 12.5, right? Or so. And the cutting plates are a little shy of that, I was gonna say. So yeah, so the whole plate system is what I had mentioned, but the actual cutting surface area, excuse me, is 8.5 exactly by just over 12. I would say 12.25, but again, those bevels are there, so I would say a good 12 inches of cutting space on that. So what I did was I just went and I grabbed some basic things. So I wanted to find a die that for sure needed embossing, so I just grabbed a die from my stash. Let me make sure that we're in a good spot. Let me rearrange this, open this guy up. Let's see where we're at. Let's see what you guys are seeing. Okay, open this guy, and that's it. And then your plates go in here. I can pop back down, and we roll it through, right? So let me have enough space behind here. Let me turn it this way, I suppose. Sorry if that's an odd angle, and I'm very sorry because again, I can't get this in my view where I normally work. Okay, so I have a die that requires embossing, and I already put on some paper, just any paper, and then taped it down because whenever I go to do embossing, I do like to make sure it doesn't move out of the way, especially if we're going to flip it out or switch it out for the rubber embossing mat. Now I will give a little tip because I know in the system here, oh, let me say one more thing. I love that the plates actually have the images of the sandwich, so you don't have to think about it. It's always there. We're doing this, right? So how to build a cutting die sandwich. And that's this one here. And then the embossing. So if I have my die facing down to my paper into the cutting plate, that means I have to switch it out, flip it when I go to use the rubber embossing mat because I need that up. So here it's facing down, here it's facing up, the cutting edge. So what I like to do is something a little bit different. And I always try to just cut into one plate and then always just use the other one as the top part. And that way when you switch out plates, I mean, with my Platinum 6, it's been, I don't even know, has it been a year? About a year? And I still have my plate. I didn't want to toss it out, but I barely now switched out to another cutting plate. So the thing is like just cut into all over the place and it's still going strong. So, but anyway, I'll cut into one. But what I'm saying is to start off, so again, we have A and B. Just want to make sure we have platform A, platform B, the C cutting plate. I'm going to put my die facing up like that with the paper because now when I switch it out later, all I have to do is just kind of push it off and I don't really have to mess around with what's going on there too much. And then my other cutting plate. Oh, my lights kind of did a little something funny there. And let's go ahead and run that through. This machine feels super sturdy. Like I'm putting my hand on it. I don't know if you have to, but generally we are used to doing that, right? So I put my hand on there. There it goes. And again, with this much real estate, I really like to just fill it up. Like if I'm cutting a whole bunch of stuff, I would fill this up with lots of different things. Now, this came out, but generally it stays in there, so I don't have to mess with it too much, right? But for now, it did pop out, so I'm just going to put it right back in its spot. And what I normally do is instead of flipping it over and all this stuff, I'll just push this off. Now it's telling you need platform A and B, which we already have here. Your die with the paper facing up. And again, if all things were equal and if it stayed down, it would be less manipulation because you're just pushing it off. And now the embossing, rubber embossing, which is E. Hopefully I have that in the right spot. And then D, the adapter plate. And now we run it through again, and that's what's going to give you your embossed ability or whatever your die might have. Not every die has embossing. capabilities. Now I can see that really well. You can see that embossing there already from the backside, and it's really well in there now. This time around, and that's kind of why I said I put a lot of tape, because I don't want it to move. There it is, it's really in there. Hold on, let's try to get this guy out. And there you have your embossing. So the first thing we did was just regular die cutting. If it didn't have any embossing, don't worry about it. My camera got real fuzzy for some reason, so there it is. Hopefully you can see it. As I get closer, I'll do a little slower just in case. But yeah, so if you were just cutting, just cut, you're done. Or if you need to do the embossing, move on to the embossing part, right? Okay, so let's try next a standard embossing folder. So this is just your basic embossing folder. And on here, it tells you how to build a standard embossing folder, and it's platform A and B, and then your embossing folder with paper and one cutting plate, right? So I have my embossing folder here. This is a standard one. And let's see, I'll use this one. It's just some black paper I have here, some heavyweight cardstock. And then again, a cutting plate. So I always use the one that I just always use as the topper. Like, I will not cut into this one until much later, so this one's just like this. And I'll show you this one, how etched it got from that cutting. Okay, so let's get rid of these little scraps. We don't want that. And just run that through. Feels really nice and taut. Try to go slow so it doesn't. Sometimes machines, when you run through, it'll go like a pop. So I was trying to avoid that so it's not so loud for you guys. And there that is. Hope you can see how perfect that looks. Sorry about the shadows, guys. Again, this is just my dining table area. Look at that. So pretty. So that's your standard embossing. So for 3D embossing, which would be this guy, that comes with the machine, we are going to do something different. And again, it's right on here, but it's basically your A plate, your 3D embossing folder with the paper, and an adapter plate. Super easy. So I'm just going to put this down for a second. And I have that beautiful embossing folder. And if your paper is a little persnickety, you might want to spray it with water. I'm just going to pop this in here, but you definitely want to, if it's paper that's really thick or you think it's a little brittle or something, you might want to spray with a little bit of water. And let's run that one through. And since all 3D embossing folders aren't created equal, let's say you did this and it didn't quite take, well, that's when you add your shim, like this guy. You would come in and add this too. You can put it underneath or on top and then run it through and see if that gives you a little more tightness. It just, you know, again, depends on the company or the brand that you're using, but you can run everything through this guy. And there's that 3D emboss folder. Look at that. Look at that design. It's so cool. And this was like just some taupe, not taupe, like tiny, I don't even know what color you would call this, but look how pretty. Just totally transform your paper. Okay, and one last thing, I did bring a steel roll die, even though this is not the one I was looking for. This is just a smaller one, but the other ones are basically the size of this plate. And so generally, this one doesn't say anything about them because honestly, not a lot of companies are really putting them out anymore, but if you still have them, this will work. You know, I didn't grab any paper for this one, so let me grab some paper and I'll be right back. I just grab a scrap of paper and hopefully it's big enough for this here. And this, all you're going to do is the 2 cutting plates. And what's really nice about these kinds of, you know, big steel roll dies is that you can cut literally anything so good. And if you've ever or not seen these guys, all you do is run it through, but I just want to show you, like, I don't know if you can see it, there's like some little silverness kind of poking out there. I don't know if I can show it to you. Deep down in there, there's a metal, the steel rule die part, and so when this gets squished, compressed, that metal pushes into your paper, and that's how that works. So it's a real old school way of doing this kind of thing, but I guess it's the same as a thin metal die, just, you know, the metal's pushing into your paper and that's what cuts. But anyway, so this one, let me get all these little bits off. Again, I want to cut into this guy. So my paper, steel rule, and then another cutting plate, and that's generally it. And then you run it through. So those are really fun and easy to use. Not a lot. Look how cute that looks. I don't know why. I like the way it looks. Those big cutting plates. And there it is. So again, any steel roll die, those big guys, that's how you do it. It's generally just the cutting plates. And then, you know, I can cut more or do whatever I was doing with it, but I just wanted to show you what those look like. And then again, they have really big, what it's really nice with Spellbinders, they have these huge like 3D object steel roll dies. So I have like a little birdhouse, and I have one that makes like a little circle container and these cute things. So it's a huge die, so you can cut a bunch more, and it cuts through like so many different materials. So that's kind of how you use these guys. And so that's that. So thank you so much, Spellbinders, for sending this item so I can continue using it in different videos. I'll let you guys know how it goes, and you know, I know you guys always want to follow up, so I'll definitely do that. But if, you know, new and improved from what they were doing before, and their machines before are excellent, so I'm sure it'll be great. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll have the link in the description box. I know right now with the launch, Spellbinders is having a sale on the US site. I believe it's like 25 off of a 125 or something like that. So it would take $25 off the machine, of course. All right, guys, so I'll have the information there as far as how long that runs. Sorry, guys, before I completely log off, you might want to know the dimensions of this too. Again, my ruler's only so big, so I mean, this platform area in the front sticks out from like the base, well, like from here, about another 6 inches, so 6 inches in the back, right? Including this portion of the machine. So it's about 18 inches, I guess, because it's about 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches. And then when you close it up, it is only about 7 inches wide and maybe 13 inches in the width there. And then the handle, of course, so that gives you a couple more inches there. Okay, hopefully that gives you some info, because I know a lot of times people don't know these things, and it is about 7 inches tall. All right, guys, bye now.